A Lowell man is now being held without bail, accused of murdering a young mother in her home.
Robinson was held without bail. A probable cause hearing was scheduled for December 30th.
Homicide in Lowell has been identified by police as 22-year-old Deja Jenkins Minus of Boston.
I'm not angry. I'm more mad that they won't come forward.
Some stories don't begin with the sound of a gunshot, but with a message left unanswered. They don't end under the flashing red and blue lights of the police, but in a silent, chilling little room where even the cry of a newborn feels unfamiliar. We often think that the greatest tragedies happen in the most dangerous places: battlefields, mines, dark corners of the city. But no, some tragedies happen right in the kitchen where you once laughed, in the bedroom once filled with love, and the perpetrator might be the person you once called lover. Today you'll hear the story of Deja Jenkins Minus, a young mother just 22 years old who was stabbed 58 times and had her neck broken by her boyfriend, the very father of her baby girl, on Thanksgiving Day. The reason? Because he suspected the child might not be biologically his. This is not just a story about a crime, it's a wake-up call. When love is not accompanied by respect, when jealousy is disguised as affection, then love can become deadly. Welcome to Echoes of Crime, where shocking crime stories are told. Leave your comments to let us know what you think so we can continue sharing powerful stories. And don't forget to subscribe. Your support motivates this channel. Now, let's dive into today's story. Deja Jenkins Minus. A name that sounds like a gentle melody, and in truth her life once played like a beautiful song. Born and raised in the city of Boston, where the old and the new intertwine, Deja was a spark of warmth from a young age, radiating light to anyone lucky enough to step into her world. She was a standout cheerleader for the Dorchester Eagles Pop Warner team. Not just someone who hyped the crowd, but a true source of inspiration. She mentored younger girls with passion and dedication. Deja's energy didn't come from chants or cheers, but from her bright eyes and a voice always full of life. Everyone who worked with her agreed. She didn't just bring the vibe, she was the vibe. Academically, Deja also shone. She was inducted into the National Honor Society at Jeremiah Burke High School, a symbol of her commitment to learning and perseverance. But what truly set her apart wasn't grades or accolades. It was how she used her intelligence and kindness to lift others up. She tutored struggling classmates, shared her lunch with those who had none, and even organized surprise birthday parties for friends whose families couldn't afford it. That was Deja, always putting others before herself. Then came a new chapter: motherhood. When baby Delaney was born, in September 2021, Deja blossomed into a fiercely loving and responsible version of herself. Motherhood didn't slow her down, it pushed her forward. She began exploring early childhood education and dreamed of opening a home-based hair salon, not just to support her daughter, but to build her own independence. She once posted on social media, "My daughter will never go without anything. Not a line to impress, but a declaration from the heart of a young mother full of courage." To her friends, Deja was the sunshine of the group, the one who always knew what to say, did the right thing, and made people feel loved. She didn't seek attention with noise. She was the kind of person you remembered after just one encounter. A smile, a hug, or a simple, "Are you okay?" message could make someone feel seen. feel less alone. Deja had plans, dreams, not grand ones for the world, but powerful ones in the heart of a young mother. She didn't crave fame or fortune. She just wanted a full life, a kind life, one where she could love her daughter with everything she had. And because of that, her tragedy didn't just steal a life. It stole a future. It extinguished a blooming dream. And it took away a light this world may never shine again. Leonard Robinson. A name that might sound unfamiliar to many, but within Boston's underground scene, he was once known by the stage name Po' Boy D. Rose. A young rapper full of promise, with a striking appearance, a confident stage presence, and a gritty street tone in his verses. On social media, Leonard embodied the image of a modern bad boy, always clad in trendy outfits, dropping philosophical captions, and sometimes sharing rap lines about rising from the bottom of society. But, like every stage, there are always two sides, the spotlight and the shadows. Behind the image of an up-and-coming artist was a completely different Leonard. A man, desperately painting a glossy mask to conceal a deeply unstable core. At just 22, Leonard was already facing 2 gun charges, awaiting trial in Suffolk Superior Court. He was ordered to wear a GPS ankle monitor and comply with a 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. curfew, a way for society to keep him in check. But perhaps the one thing no system could truly restrain was his emotional volatility and fragile sense of pride. Leonard wasn't just hot-tempered. He possessed a jealousy and need for control rooted in possession, a type of emotional flare that, once triggered, could incinerate any trace of reason. When Deja gave birth to their daughter, baby Delaney, just 2 months later, Leonard publicly posted on Facebook, doubting whether the child was his, questioning Deja's faithfulness and even demanding a DNA test. No gentle conversation, no private confrontation, only the humiliation of Deja laid bare before an audience of online spectators. Behind the rap lyrics was a man at war with himself, unable to control his anger, unwilling to process his pain, and most of all, incapable of handling rejection. To Leonard, being left doubted or wounded wasn't just failure, it was a threat, and in one impulsive moment that threat, through his twisted lens, needed to be completely erased. Leonard may have once been seen as Boston's rising talent, a young artist with a unique voice, but the truth is, talent can't save a soul that's never been healed, and a charming online persona can't cover up the silent cracks decaying from within. A man behind a mask, an ego more fragile than glass, and a single reckless choice that cost an entire future. In blood. November 25, 2021. Thanksgiving Day. In Boston, the air was filled with the scent of roasted turkey, pumpkin pie, children's laughter, and warm wishes echoing through every street corner. Families gathered, clinking glasses in gratitude for love, for family, for life itself. For 22-year-old Deja Jenkins, it was her first Thanksgiving as a mother. She dressed her 2-month-old daughter Delaney in a velvet red dress adorned with a little maple leaf. A pure joy radiated from her face as she snapped the first festive photos of her baby on this special day. But before heading home for dinner with her family, Deja decided to stop by Leonard Robinson's house, her ex-boyfriend and the biological father of her child, so he could see his daughter on the holiday. Perhaps she still believed that despite everything, Leonard deserved a chance to be a father. Perhaps her forgiving heart still hoped to mend what had already broken. At 11:43 a.m., her final message was sent. "I'll be back soon." A simple sentence, yet in hindsight, it became a silent farewell. The afternoon passed. At LaToya's dining table, Deja's mother, a chair remained empty. Everyone took turns sharing photos, FaceTiming Thanksgiving greetings. But from Deja, not a sound, not a photo, not a single message. Her phone was completely off. No one could reach her. No social media updates about the holiday, a habit Deja, a true lover of sharing, never missed. At first, LaToya tried to calm herself. Maybe she's busy. Maybe her phone died. Maybe she'll be back any minute. But a mother's intuition never lies. She opened the location tracker. A single dot appeared on the map. Leonard's address on Llewellyn Street, Lowell. That dot didn't move for hours. LaToya's heart began to pound. Without hesitation, she jumped in the car and sped toward Lowell, a drive of nearly an hour that felt like an eternity. When she arrived, the house was dark, silent, no lights, doors tightly locked. Neighbors confirmed they had seen Deja enter with her baby, carrying a diaper bag. But no one had seen her come out. LaToya stayed up the entire night, slumped on the sidewalk, eyes locked on that front door. She prayed it was all a misunderstanding, that her daughter would walk out any minute, smile and say, "Mum, I'm just a little late." But the next morning, Thanksgiving was no longer a day of gratitude. It became a date etched in horror, marking the beginning of a nightmare so terrifying, a tragedy no one in Deja's family could have foreseen, and none of us could ever forget after hearing it. Morning of November 26, 2021. Boston remained bitterly cold, with fog curling gently over the rooftops, but for the family of Deja Jenkins Minus, the harshest chill wasn't in the weather. It was the gnawing dread that gripped every breath they took. When waiting was no longer an option, Deja's mother called the police to request a welfare check at the home of Leonard Robinson, her daughter's ex-boyfriend, and the last known location of Deja's phone. Lowell police arrived swiftly. The house on Llewellyn Street stood like a somber note in a quiet alley. Every door was locked. Not a single light. Not a single sound. No answer. While officers were still surveying the scene, one of Leonard's relatives decided to climb through a window. He stepped inside with unease growing with every step. And then the locked bedroom door was kicked open. What they saw would paralyze even the strongest soul. On the floor, next to an unmade air mattress, lay the lifeless body of Deja Jenkins. Her body was drenched in blood, cold, silent, no cry, no sign of life. Officers immediately sealed the crime scene. Every step they took inside the home smeared blood streaks across the floors. From the bedroom to the kitchen, a trail of horror. Blood splattered the walls, pooled on the floor, as if a storm of rage had erupted inside a place once meant to be a sanctuary. The autopsy results were nearly beyond belief. Deja's neck had been broken. Her body bore over 58 stab wounds, inflicted with a sharp object, piercing her chest, back, neck and face. Deep gashes on her arms and hands told a story of desperate struggle. She fought for her life, right until her final breath. That young mother, only 22 years old, spent her last moments in unimaginable agony, and in a betrayal so profound, at the hands of the very man who fathered her child. And yet, amidst the carnage, there was one fragile miracle. a glimmer of light in the darkness. Baby Dejani's 2-month-old daughter was still alive. She was found in her infant car seat, wrapped securely in a blanket, placed in a corner of the room. There was only a faint stain of blood on the cloth, likely her mother's, but not a single injury on her body. They say some mothers, even in the face of death, cling to one instinct above all else, to protect their child. And Deja did exactly that. She shielded her baby to the very end, knowing she might never hold her again. This wasn't just a death. It was a savage murder. And yet, it also became a quiet anthem of motherhood, a testament to a woman who loved her child with everything she had, even her life. Unlike an impulsive act driven by sudden rage, Leonard Robinson did not flee in a panic. He escaped with calculation. Immediately after murdering Deja Jenkins, Leonard did not leave the crime scene right away. GPS data from the court-mandated tracking device, required due to his involvement in previous gun charges, showed that he remained in the house until around 2 a.m. Nearly 14 hours after the murder, Leonard was seen moving through various locations around Boston. These stops were likely not random. They were deliberate attempts to erase evidence, build an alibi, or plan his escape. At 4:56 p.m., Leonard made a clear, conscious decision. He cut off his GPS ankle monitor, severing all legal oversight. A bold, calculated act, one that confirmed what we already feared. He knew exactly what he had done. But justice is not so easily fooled. Just 4 days later, investigators tracked him down and arrested Leonard at another residence in the city. When he was apprehended, he did not resist, did not confess, and showed no remorse. His face was expressionless, his eyes vacant, as if the horrific act he had committed was just an unfortunate incident. Leonard was charged with first-degree murder and held without bail. The prosecution laid out the evidence. Data, blood and forensic evidence at the crime scene. And most damning of all, his own words posted online. "I'm not sure that's my kid. I'm going crazy." A single doubt, a jealous rage, a bruised ego. That's all it took for a man once called a lover to become a cold-blooded killer. We often hear the phrase crime of passion, a term that sounds dramatic, almost cinematic. But in real life, it translates to senseless, tragic deaths rooted in the weakness of an ego that cannot accept rejection. Leonard didn't have to kill Deja. He could have walked away. He could have remained silent. He could have loved. Or not. But instead of choosing to control himself, he chose to control someone else, with a knife, with his fists, and with destruction. And the cost goes far beyond prison. It's a child who lost her mother, a mother who lost her daughter, and a community that lost the light of a young woman who once shined so brightly in this world. Deja Jenkins is gone, leaving behind a void that no words can ever fill. She leaves behind her mother, LaToya, who was not just a parent, but her best friend, a father who was always proud of his daughter's strength and compassion, friends who believed that Deja was the little light in their lives. And most painfully, she leaves behind a 2-month-old baby who never even had the chance to call her Mum. In the cold, grey days of late November in Boston, a memorial was held. Candles flickered in the wind, a fragile glow of hope amidst the darkness of mourning. Loved ones embraced and wept. Friends read her name through tears. And strangers, people who had never met Deja, stood still, silent. as if to honor something beautiful that had been stolen too soon. But that vigil was not only filled with sorrow, it was also filled with anger. Anger that the GPS monitoring system had failed. Anger that a man already wearing an ankle monitor for 2 pending gun charges was still able to silently take the life of a young mother. Anger at a broken legal system that continues to allow evil to hide behind the mask of normalcy. And in that pain, the community did not stay silent. A scholarship was established in Deja's name, the Deja Jenkins Scholarship, for young women who dream big, act boldly, and serve their communities the way she once did. A trust fund was also created for baby Delani's future, so she can grow up with the support, love, and opportunities her mother once wished for her. She should have lived. She should have been a mother. She should have finished her studies, opened her salon, and raised her daughter with unconditional love. But instead, she was murdered, just for being kind, just for trusting the wrong person. Deda's death is not just the end of a life. It is a warning cry to society that kindness should never cost someone their life, and that we, the ones still here, must speak up, must protect, must change, because no one deserves to die just for loving too much. Deja didn't die in an accident. She wasn't murdered by a stranger lurking in the dark. Deja had her life taken away by the very man she once loved, once trusted, and once gave both her heart and her baby daughter to. This case is more than just a personal tragedy. It's a mirror reflecting the dark corners of modern society, where a wounded ego can be more dangerous than any weapon, where kindness, trust, and love can sometimes become the very reasons someone is killed. Murder doesn't begin with a knife, a gun, or a blow. It starts within the mind, with unhealed insecurity, a fragile sense of pride, and unchecked rage. And when these fester long enough inside a toxic person, they become an emotional time bomb, just waiting to explode. We can't bring Deja back, but we can save other Dejas out there right now, trapped in relationships that seem loving on the surface, but are actually prisons of control and fear. If you're in a relationship where you feel afraid of the person beside you, speak up, leave, find help. And if you're someone who feels angry, broken, or out of control, pause, talk to someone, reach out. One step back, one deep breath, one timely conversation could save a life. It could even save yours. If Deja's story touched you, please share this video. Not just to retell a tragedy, but to spread a lesson, a warning, and a powerful message for all of us. And if you want to continue diving into real stories, shocking crimes, harsh truths, and urgent wake-up calls from real life, hit that subscribe button so you never miss a story. Deja deserves to be remembered, not for how she died, but for everything she stood for: love, kindness, and the will to live. Live well. For Deja, for those like her, and for yourself.